On today's episode of Titus and Tate, the Milwaukee Bucks are NBA champions.
Bucks in six.
And Tate Frazier is a happy boy because he loves Giannis so much.
He did it. He did it. It was good.
And he did it in I was slightly worried that with the clock hit 0 and Giannis was a champion, all the likability was going to go down the drain.
No.
And he was going to jump on the scores table and grab his nuts and be like, suck it haters and all that. The exact opposite has happened. He has been even more likable somehow since they won the title. We're going to talk about Game 6, talk about the finals, talk about legacies. What does this mean for... I'm just...
Please, let's not do that. Let's not do that.
But we'll talk about Giannis a little bit, have some fun. What does this mean for the Big Ten, by the way? People are saying, a lot of people... You're hearing it more and more, that Milwaukee, the state of Wisconsin winning a title is actually a Big Ten title.
And Frank Kaminsky played well, in Game 6.
So people are saying, is the drought over? Has the Big Ten finally won a basketball title? We'll discuss. Speaking of conferences, speaking of the Big Ten and college sports in general, we are definitely going to spend a little time talking about this news.
Texas.
That came out of nowhere. It was a bomb.
Or
was it a blip or a bomb?
I think this was a bomb.
This was a bomb. It kind of did come out of nowhere because it was leaked to like the Houston Chronicle, and then everyone thought this is garbage. This isn't actually a real thing. So they asked Texas and Oklahoma what's going on. They gave the worst non-answers ever. Yes. If you have no idea what we're talking about,
listen up. We're going to talk all about it. It's going to be fun.
A report leaked that Texas and Oklahoma are actively trying to leave the Big 12 to join the SEC. And as I said, Texas and Oklahoma are not doing basically anything to refute these reports. So we're going to have some fun speculating on what's going to happen next.
Is the landscape shifting, or are these just speculations that are swirling? That is the big question of the day. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Also, before he sat down, Tate said he's out on Team USA. So I'm going to have to ask about that. We're going to get to that.
Don't ever disrespect Bam.
We're gonna maybe get to the bottom of what exactly that means. All that coming up, but first,
Woody Durham.
Let's start with the finals, Tate. The Bucks are champions. This was a NBA Finals that I thought going in, I didn't care who was going to win.
Ooh.
It felt as I'm very much in the camp of just I want new blood at all times in the NBA. I wanted.
Where's the scoreboard?
I want
tied up right now. So
new bloods. I want I just don't want super teams. I don't want coastal teams. I want middle America.
You want elite teams, but not elitist teams.
I was pulling for Memphis versus Milwaukee.
Yes.
That's my dream. Memphis versus the New Orleans Hornets. These are the teams I enjoy watching. The Pacers, the Cavs, whatever. So I didn't think I cared. I thought Suns, Bucks, whoever wins, it's a great story because the Lakers didn't win, the Nets didn't win, and that makes me happy. But then once the series started, I very quickly was cheering for the Bucks. And I tell you what, Tate, by the time Game 6 ended, I was beaming from ear to ear that the Milwaukee Bucks were champions. And I think it is because of Giannis. I think that's pretty much it. That has to be the only reason why I cared so much about the Bucks beating the Suns, right? Get inside my head. Tell me what I'm thinking.
No, you're thinking that you just watch someone dominate in a Game 6 in a closeout game. That doesn't really happen often other than, top players like a Michael Jordan or, I've heard a lot of Bob Pettit, being brought up. I didn't know that this many people knew about his finals experiences. Magic Johnson comes to mind.
How frustrating do you think it is for the people that pull up those stats, the producers at these sports shows that have to come up with a stat to contextualize how great Giannis is, and they go into Basketball Reference and they check all the boxes where they're like, the only guy to average 12.5 rebounds and 31.5 points, and you start checking all the boxes, and then you hit enter and it's like Jordan, Wilt, Kareem, Bob Pettit, and then that guy's like
It's like, all right, start with Pettit, but damn it, it would have been better with Magic.
It reminds me of the famous graphic where Thaddeus Young was on the Pacers.
Yeah,
and he was averaging
yeah.
like 12.9 points, 4.1 assists.
It's the Big Ten stat of the day.
It's the most Big Ten stat of the day you've ever seen. But I always wonder, like, the guys are hoping it's just like Jordan and LeBron, and that's it. And then, like,
well, in the bubble, remember we kept seeing like Jamal Murray. It would be like Jordan, Jerry West, Jamal Murray. You're like, that is a great trio for him to be in. Donovan Mitchell was doing the same thing.
Pettit. Apologies to the Pettit family, by the way. Bob Pettit, Hall of Famer, great NBA player. But you know that the 24-year-olds that are working at your Fox Sports, your ESPN, ESPNs or whatever. They're ripping these stats.
Well, the best
Like,
is
who
when
the hell is Bob Pettit?
the best is when the older, your broadcaster, analyst, whatever you want to call themselves, would act like they watch Bob Pettit. They're like, and of course, Bob Pettit.
We all
Oh
remember.
my God,
Yes.
Bob Pettit. We all watched that one. But in general, Giannis, I mean, you can't compare him to anybody. But if you had to mix two people together, it's like Akeem Olajuwon and Jordan. And these are the only two guys, shades of. And these are the only two guys that have done what he's done, which is win Defensive Player of the Year, win an MVP, and win a Finals MVP. So I mean, he's in rarefied air.
Yeah.
He is in a different space. He is international Jordan. But again, you can't compare him to anyone because he's won Giannis. And when he went to Chick-fil-A, I was in line at Chick-fil-A getting breakfast, and I'm going through my phone on Twitter. I'm stopped, people. I'm not driving. I'm not a maniac. But I'm just going through my phone, and I see Giannis order his 50-piece. And he ordered a 50-piece McNugget from Chick-fil-A.
McNugget?
Yeah, he said McNugget,
Yeah.
which is great. It's so pure. Like you said, you expect when someone wins, there's like a cockiness or like an arrogance that's going to come with that. But instead, he has this beautiful humility. You can tell how much it affected him. I mean, the tears pouring down, talking about his mom, talking about they were selling CDs in the streets.
Yeah.
And now he's an NBA champion. And the first time LeBron played in the finals was 2007. Giannis didn't even play basketball then. So, like, I talk about turning the page. Like, we have...
Are we turning the page or passing the torch?
We're turning the page.
Okay.
Because the torch, let's just be quite honest, Jordan never passed the torch to anybody.
He still has it.
He still has the torch. And that's why he made The Last Dance, because he's like, in case y'all forgot, I'm still the GOAT. And LeBron James has tried so hard to get that man to just pass him the torch.
Give me the torch,
Mike. Mike's like, going between the legs, like keeping the torch from him. And so there is...
Space Jam 3 is LeBron James on the quest to find the torch.
I hope Bugs finds it. But basically, I think Giannis. I saw all the shows. Skip and Shannon. We'll keep it. Company men. They were talking about the crown, and Skip saying that Kevin Durant has had the crown since 2017. Right. I think LeBron is still the crowning achievement in the NBA. The guy that they're going to point to. But right now, Giannis is the best player in basketball, and that is. Well, that's fun. That's exciting.
I saw another discussion that's happened since Game 6 is ended, the finals have ended, which is Giannis the face of the NBA? Can he be the face?
Yes,
like this
he
discussion
is the face.
about like all that. Not only is he or should he be or whatever. Like
yes, he is ideal.
He's ideal.
Yes.
This is what you
He's
want
a
the face of
Disney
the
character.
NBA. Yes.
We're when we potentially have kids one day, we're gonna watch a movie called The Antetokounmpos. And it's gonna be the three Antetokounmpos and their amazing story of overcoming the odds.
LeBron's story is amazing.
Yes.
LeBron's story is
a kid
insane.
from Akron, insane. An American story, rags to riches, beautiful.
Yes, beautiful story.
A billionaire.
He branded his story at like 19.
Yes.
And has been shoving it down your throat ever since.
Ever since
and
that
Nike's
Hummer.
been financing. Yeah, and it's like we're at a point now in 2021 where the authenticity of LeBron's story it's been polished so much that what we're being presented is like, and he gets on Instagram and posts, I'm just a kid from Akron, as he's like, drinking $50,000 bottles of wine. And he's like, man, look at the comment. It's like, okay, we get it, but also, Giannis, it still feels authentic. And I guess that's my fear moving forward are we going to look up in 5 years and Giannis has won a couple titles in Milwaukee and now he's like, I want to get traded to the Lakers and just live in LA. And also, I'm going to star in Space Jam 3.
I mean, he might want to star in a movie, but it won't be Space Jam. It'll be a Disney film about his family. Like he's going to be a star, but I'm not worried about fame with him because it does seem that seems very vapid over here. Like he has this family life.
Yeah.
I love that his son was the first one to touch the trophy, like puts it on the ground.
Yeah.
And then of course all the trolls online are like his son touched it before CP3. I mean these guys are brutal.
Poor I hate CP3. By the way.
You hate C3PO?
Yeah, I wanted to C3. Yeah, CP3. I want to talk about that for a second because I got conned by
the media got you.
The media got
me. I know.
Yeah,
I know.
I
saw you one time say you were like, I think I might be pulling for Chris Paul, and I was like, oh. And I like Chris Paul, North Carolina guy.
I think that's why I'm so upset because I know that I got scammed. I got scammed by people into believing that like Chris Paul winning the ring.
I think LeBron's media mafia got you.
They really did. And and then like Game 5, I'm watching. I'm like, no. When it was the moment that Giannis had the alley-oop dunk and Chris Paul tried to hit him in the balls.
Yeah.
And all the flood of emotion coming back where I was like, I hate this guy. I've always hated this guy. Like I guess hate's too strong of a word. He's always been annoying.
Yes.
He's always been like, I've never gone out of my way to cheer for Chris Paul. Suddenly I found myself cheering for him. I was like, yeah, that'd be a nice story, I guess. No, it wouldn't have. It would not have been a nice story. Chris Paul never changed. He never at any point was like, I'm going to stop flopping. I'm going to stop whining.
Yeah.
Even as the clock hits 0, he's like running off the court. We can't even get like the moment where he, for the love of God, at least fake it. At least go up to Giannis, tap him in the chest a couple times, say, this is your league now, buddy, or whatever. I don't know. Can we get that?
None of that.
Like, that's the brand play. That's if you want like to be fake, even fake it, Tate. That's what I would do. I would fake it.
I think stubbornness is probably the best word for Chris Paul's entire career. And like I told, we were talking about this. Only one little guard has ever been able to lead a team himself to a title, and it's Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah.
And he had a very similar makeup to Chris Paul in the sense that like
he's petty.
But he's also a champion, right? So like Isaiah is literally the one of one in my opinion. And so you kind of, but Chris Paul is also, the PA president. He is influential. State Farm ads, all that other mumbo jumbo.
They got me.
Yeah,
I think the State Farm. Something happened where I got conned into like.
If you're State Farm, you call Giannis, right?
I think so.
I mean, absolutely. Like, let's just be quite upfront about this. If I'm State Farm, I walked into the meeting and say, guys, I got an idea. Let's pivot. Number 3 to number 34.
His alter ego in State Farm is Johnny Antetokounmpo.
Yes.
Something like that.
And he's like Clark Kent.
Yeah.
He has glasses and he goes and like writes about the Bucks. He covers the Bucks.
My theory of what happened with Chris Paul was that because I believe that most of America still doesn't like the guy, and I think that
it's in pockets.
I think what happened was we got ahead of it, and I made this case to Charlotte on the show we did yesterday. So apologies if people listen to both shows and I'm basically doing the same monologue. But I think what happened, Tate, is that. Somewhere along the line, we thought the Suns were definitely winning this title. We said the Phoenix, going into the finals, Phoenix was steamrolling everybody. They beat LeBron and the defending champion Lakers in round 1. They beat the MVP. They sweep the MVP Jokic in round 2. They beat the Clippers, who were red hot after taking out the Jazz in the Western Finals, and everyone was suddenly like, "Wow, how cool is this that the Clippers are in the Western Finals? Got over the hump, maybe." They're not missing Kawhi as much as we thought. So the Suns were rolling. Giannis gets hurt going into game 1, and it looks like the Suns are going to win the title. And I think that was the moment in time that we as a collective basketball community decided this is inevitable. Chris Paul is going to win his ring. And I don't want to look like a butthurt hater when it happens. So I'm going to get ahead of it and be like, I like Chris Paul. How cool is this that a guy this talented has been he was banished to Oklahoma City. And now he's back.
I mean, it was cool. It was cool. It
kind of was, but like, if it was anyone else, he's the worst.
At least he upped his value himself and got that team to the playoffs and got traded the responsible way. James Harden, to me, is the one that is the perfect. He's perfectly getting smacked around. His old teammate, PJ Tucker, deserves to win a championship, is a championship-level starter, defender. I love PJ Tucker. And now he gets to celebrate with the true champion, Giannis Antetokounmpo, a guy that – again, I said on the last show, he's not friends with these guys.
Yeah, quit trying to go to Giannis. I want to go back to Chris Paul. I'm not touching on it.
Chris Paul, look, I don't even care to eulogize him either. You know what I mean? It's like Chris Paul could sign with Phoenix and go right back at it.
Yeah, I
but
think
he might not. He might go to the Knicks.
I think it's hilarious.
He might go to the Knicks.
I think it's hilarious that they're talking about Chris Paul like maybe going to the Lakers because
he can't. They can't pay him.
Why would he go to the worst team anyway?
He never got his max, so he never got his big money unless State Farm has covered that back end with millions and millions of dollars, which they're probably going to give to Giannis.
Forget the money.
Soon.
If the guy wants a ring, why would he go to a worse team, Tate?
Exactly.
That's what I don't ever get.
Well, I think LeBron went to him after the game and was like, "We're gonna have to team up. We're gonna have to team up to stop him." And Chris Paul's like, "How much money y'all got?" They're like the mid-level. He's like, he cannot sign there for the mid-level.
I thought Chris Paul was going to win a ring, and I just want to get ahead of it because there's nothing more embarrassing as a sports fan than to be the guy who
he's going to the Knicks. That's what I think.
Okay, but there's nothing more embarrassing to be the guy who, as the trophy's being raised, you're the guy that's just sitting on the couch is like, I hate that guy. Like when LeBron won his first title and all the people were just like, who cares? He'll never be, you don't want to be the hater. And I think we all saw the writing on the wall that Chris Paul was going to win the title. So we're like, let's not be the hater. That's a bad look for us.
People forget the Thunder were favored going into the finals that year.
And then game 5, the Bucks win in Phoenix and you realize, oh my God, the Bucks are going to do this. And it's like the chains came off of me and I was like, I hate this guy. I hate Chris Paul, I think.
Yeah.
So
Titus Unchained. Just going at Chris Paul.
Giannis, though, very likable, which has been covered extensively and will be continue to be covered throughout the offseason. I feel like he's just going to keep popping up, doing fun things. And I saw the parade.
NBA is global.
Yeah.
That's what we all learned. Like we had a long run as being like we had basketball created in Massachusetts. We've owned the sport. It's been all us. But right now, it's a global game, and Giannis Antetokounmpo is the face of the league.
To that point, why is
awesome.
it that the international guys seem more likable, seem more willing to, you know, if you're someone who believes like I do, which you if you listen to us, we're a college basketball podcast by and large. So I assume if you like college basketball a little more than the pros, you might have more of a you might agree with this mindset, which is the player empowerment, the guys demanding trades. James Harden having the ability to be like, trade me to Brooklyn, bitch, and Houston's like, okay, James, we'll do it. That is insane, and we desire a time, Tate, when guys like Giannis Antetokounmpo could go wherever he wanted. He's like, I want to stay with the team that drafted me. So to see him stay in Milwaukee, a place that very few NBA stars would want to go to. It makes it feel more special, Tate. But as I think about like the guys who check those boxes of like guys who would stay in the teams that are places that they're drafted, guys who don't care about their brands, guys who, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All the stuff that our dads would complain about as they're watching the NBA, right? It feels like they're mostly the international guys, and the American guys are the ones that are. Am I wrong here?
No, you're not wrong.
So why is that? What do you think's going on here? What is it about? Because my theory is this. My theory is
it's hard to be the best and stay humble. I think that's my theory on all things American basketball.
I have a theory about this. It's Michael Jordan's fault. Michael Jordan taught the world of basketball.
Classic LeBron fan.
When Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan taught all of us a lesson.
How to fly. He taught us how to fly.
Okay, calm down.
Taught us to believe.
Cut Tate's mic, Jim. Cut Tate's mic. Michael Jordan. When he has his run, Tate, he taught the world two different lessons. He taught America basketball players a lesson. He taught the rest of the world a lesson. What he taught the world was that basketball's pretty tight. Yeah. It's a sick game. Like everyone's watching the Dream Team in '92. You want to be like Mike.
Yeah.
It's been covered extensively, the impact that the Dream Team had on the globalization of basketball. So all these people all over the world, their initial thought watching the Dream Team was, this is cool. I like basketball. Maybe I should play basketball instead of soccer. This is cool. That's like basically it. What it taught those of us in America was that you could, if you got great at basketball, you could sell $1 billion worth of shoes. You could be in movies. You could be in Gatorade commercials. You could have the strongest brand. You could have kids in every city in America lining up around the block for a finish line to open to get your shoes. And I think that was the lesson that all the Americans saw. And whereas the world was just like, basketball's pretty cool, I kind of like basketball. Yeah. So I think the world is still like 20 years behind on trying to like brand themselves.
The American capitalistic structure. Like the kids are like, I can make lots of money. Yes.
So the next wave of like, not the Giannis generation, but the generation after that was watching Giannis be awesome, and Luka is going to watch Luka and Giannis and Jokic. I think in 20 years, like the guys coming out of Nigeria and Greece and Serbia and Slovenia are going to come to America and be like, here's my brand strategy.
I mean, definitely.
And I think the American guys are ahead of it. That's my philosophy.
Yeah, they definitely are ahead of it, but the Europeans definitely have an advantage of, one, they have a mystery. There's a mystique behind them. I think we always underestimate that about Michael Jordan. There was this, obviously the angel version of Michael Jordan, the one that's, I want to be like Mike, that's laughing with the kids, drinking Gatorade. But there's also the one that's, drinking Miller Lite until 4 in the morning playing cards. You know what I mean? So the mystique of that, right? Like Allen Iverson was influenced by both sides of Michael, probably, to a fault at sometimes. But that was still the mystique that he was into. Giannis Antetokounmpo, all I know is when he wore black Air Forces to Game 3, there were a lot of people in European places, that were saying like, that's like a message to say like, I'm Debo, you know what I mean? Like, you don't mess with me. like to wear black forces, right? So like, we don't really know. Like Giannis is this likable guy, but like, let me just tell you, also after the game, he calls out KD basically specifically, says super team, and LeBron to I think it's more KD than
it was more
that.
KD. It was more KD.
And then he goes and he says, not 49, not 51, 50, because KD had 49. You know what I mean? So like, I'm just telling you, he's the top player in the world, and he's talking like it. And it's a very throwback because, I mean, Kevin Durant has to and will respond next season, and it's going to be fun, to see 2 7-footers with skill one more of a skill with the other one with force, now going at each other's necks in the Eastern Conference. And one of them is the American player, and I think he's the underdog right now. And that's been a long time since we can say that. And then on the flip side of that, in the Western Conference, Jokic is the MVP, and his center is the starting center for USA Basketball. So if you're looking at it from that vantage point, you know, the NBA is now a European global game, whatever you want to call it, and America's number 2.
Yeah,
and that's crazy to think about because the Dream Team was not that long ago.
So that's why you're out on Team USA?
No, I'm just saying, I'm pointing it out.
I
want to be number 1. And it's because we let Duke take over. Duke is too involved with Team USA Basketball. We need to get back to Carolina basketball, not Duke basketball. That's the problem.
There it is.
That's it. That's the big problem.
That's what it. Well, Durant versus Giannis is. I really do hope this is the start of an awesome rivalry because it felt that way even when the Nets and Bucks lined up to before the series even started. It felt like it was good versus evil. It felt like I said, if you're someone like me that's complained about the state of the NBA for the last 5 years since Durant joined the Warriors, the Bucks playing the Nets in the playoffs was polar opposites. Like one team is very obviously stands for everything right about how a team quote unquote should be run. One team is everything wrong. You just like move your franchise. You have zero culture, zero identity as a franchise. You just go to the big market. You just lure all the free agent. Like everything about the Nets and how they're run is disgusting to me. It's offensive. They don't play defense either. Disgusting. The Bucks play defense. They
Drew Holiday, I mean, you have to throw him in Defensive Player of the Year conversations moving forward. We know what he does when he's playing championship basketball. So that says something.
Having those polar opposites play each other in the playoffs, and then Giannis wins the title. He doesn't call out Durant by name, but kind of calls out Durant. I'm so excited for it because I genuinely believe, Tate, Kevin Durant ruined the NBA 5 years ago going to the Warriors. The NBA was the greatest sports league on earth. Greatest professional sports league on earth in 2016. That season was so good.
Amazing.
The regular season,
Curry
all the way
shot
through
in
the
OKC is the one that really sticks out there.
Regular season game, and we all remember it. When's like that?
73 wins.
It was unbelievable. And then Kevin Durant is up 3-1 on the Warriors, blows it, then joins the team that he was up 3-1 on. Ruins the league for 5 years. Giannis Antetokounmpo has saved the NBA, and moving forward, it's good versus evil. And as you said, it's weird because the quote-unquote evil guy is the American, who I now have to cheer for in the Olympics leading our team.
Yeah, exactly. It's very strange. And I do think, just to wrap this up, my one last point, in the NBA, there's gravitational pull to the players believe that one guy is the guy that's going to get them to a championship, right? So the gravitational pull we thought was Brooklyn or Los Angeles. And now I think you can pretty much, I think that it's split in the Western Conference. I think it's Denver. I really do. I think maybe it's 3 ways. It's Denver, and it's Phoenix, and it's Dallas, because I think a lot of players are going to find out in these Olympics that Luka Doncic is the real deal, or at least if they haven't been alert, you know, at this point, they're going to say, oh, I want to play with that guy. Like a Rudy Gobert may say, I think I would have a better chance playing with Luka, and I can rim protect, and I can go against Giannis and see what happens. You know what I mean? So that could be what comes out of this. So the gravitational pull for me primarily is going to go to Milwaukee with Giannis and going to go to Dallas with Luka.
Do you think Milwaukee will attract free agents now?
I mean, not even free agents, but players that are championship level player, like not a Jeff Green in particular, but those Jay Crowder type players are going to say, I want to go. Not those players specifically, but they're going to say, I want to go play with the best player. I want to be a part of that. That's what happened with Michael. I mean, people just wanted to go play with him.
But I don't think it's a deal where say Damian Lillard's a free agent.
No,
but like Damian Lillard,
Giannis isn't recruiting them.
He's not gonna.
He doesn't want them. He wants to beat them. That's the best part about the Bucks. I saw people were saying, "Are they a super team?" No. They want to kill them. They want like Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton and Giannis Antetokounmpo. That is a big three that plays.
Pat Connaughton. That's
they're
a
all
super,
chips.
That's a super
Bobby
team.
Portis.
That's a super team.
Bobby Portis.
Pat Connaughton, Bobby Portis, Giannis, super team.
I mean, when DiVincenzo comes back too, they have another scorer that's really good that can guard on the wing. So I think Milwaukee, the gravitational pull is there. The gravitational pull is going to go to Luka, and I think Giannis versus Luka is force versus skill, right?
Flight versus force. Wasn't that a campaign Nike had with
this is
Team Flight, Team Force?
And guess who's Jordan brand? Luka. Guess who's Nike? Giannis.
Is Giannis Nike?
Yeah.
I thought about that too. That
you gotta get the freaks.
Dude, I honestly had no idea. As Giannis was celebrating, it hit me that I have no part of what makes him so likable to me is I literally have no idea who Giannis's shoe contract was with until you just said it right there.
Nike. The
Meanwhile,
freaks.
I watch Space Jam and LeBron falls into a crater and it's a Nike check.
I mean, if I was
Just
Jordan
shoved down your
Brand,
throat.
if I was Jordan
Yeah.
Brand, I would call up Giannis because he obviously has it on his jersey when he wins the championship. And then they showed this video 2013 when he gets drafted. He's looking up at the rafters and he's like, "There's Kareem,
No,
there's
dude,
Oscar,"
don't-
and he has a Jordan
No.
logo on him.
Stay away from him. Leave him alone.
no.
I don't want Giannis in
Luka
commercials.
and Giannis both
No, dude.
stamped by Jordan. That's the torch.
I don't
think
want-
that might be the torch.
You're
We talk
trying
about
to
the torch.
spoil him, dude.
He's been doing this for 20 years from LeBron, and now he's going to give it to Giannis.
So
and
you're
Luka.
saying basically, I make an
Yes.
argument that capitalism,
Yes.
watching Michael Jordan exploit capitalism is
Giannis-
what ruined the American basketball players. So you're saying have Michael Jordan,
Yes.
have his brand contaminate the
No,
two best
not
international
contaminate.
players that we have in the
He
game?
inspired this generation. They wanted to be like Mike.
How would that not ruin Giannis if he's showing up in every commercial and he's like,
He's not going to be in every commercial. I'm just saying
and
it's going to
I'm
be Jordan
Jordan
Brand. He's
Brand.
going to have great comfy
I don't want
shoes that
that,
we can
dude.
buy. It's going to be great.
I want Giannis to me is what everyone thought Kawhi Leonard was going to be before Kawhi's uncle told him he wants out of like when Kawhi when he was on the Spurs and he was just like, wow, I love that guy. He just shows up and plays basketball, doesn't really love interviews, isn't
Yeah.
worried about his brand, isn't worried about anything. Seems like he'll play in San Antonio forever, which San Antonio has a great franchise, but
I think we now know
it's
why
a
he left
smaller-
San Antonio.
smaller market or whatever because Popovich.
You guys were watching
Pop
Team
sucks.
USA.
But Kawhi has
He's like, I can't do all this.
what Kawhi has done since he's left San Antonio, he won the title and everything. But like
course.
Kawhi's likability before he left San Antonio to now, like it's definitely gone down. Wouldn't you say?
I mean,
People? Yeah. So I'm
But
saying
I think
Giannis.
purposely so. I think
Yeah.
I think he won in Toronto, knew that was going to be kind of like a 2016 LeBron. That's a separate. Oh my God, what a wow moment. And then he wanted to be where he wanted to be, which is he wants to play for the San Diego Clippers,
Yeah.
and they don't exist anymore. So he's playing for the Los Angeles Clippers,
Right,
And he's
but-
living in San Diego, and I think he basically like retired after he, not actually, but he kind of rode off into the sunset.
To the larger point, Giannis has picked up that torch.
And Giannis-
the torch of the guy who just like shows up and plays basketball and is
Kawhi celebrated, and what did Giannis do? He said, "We're gonna win next year."
Yeah.
That's the difference,
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, between the two. I think Kawhi was like, "I did this. I'm happy about that," and I think Giannis is like,
So
"I
that's-
want more."
With that
I
in
need
mind, I
more."
think New Balance should sign Giannis. I
New-
think he
New
should go to New
Balance.
Balance or like Asics or like what are other Fila.
I mean, Puma
Puma.
should go after him. Puma has everybody except for Giannis, but I mean, he loves Nike. He says. I mean,
Alright.
I like Jordan Brand.
What other finals thoughts are there? I mean, the Suns.
Jeff Teague, NBA champion.
Jeff
I feel like
Teague's
we
NBA
hadn't said that
champion.
yet,
Yeah.
and I think Coach Bud, we have to give him like a little bit of respect. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He's obviously
Do you
very
fire?
close to
If you're
Giannis.
Milwaukee, do you fire him still? I would.
I mean, I think you
think you-
literally give him the biggest hug and you
I-
say, Bud, we were gonna fire you.
You give
know
him.
what I
You give
mean?
him the rest of the week. I think. Give him through the
Yeah,
weekend to
yeah.
celebrate, and then on Monday morning you hit that news drop and.
I think you think to yourself, I might have to fire this guy. But I think Monty Williams, can I just say this before we get out of it? Talking about Duke and Carolina basketball, Coach K, as you remember, reprimanded Dylan Brooks,
Yep.
for basically celebrating too much when he
Yep.
beat him in the NCAA tournament. Dean Smith famously, went into the Iowa locker room after they first loss in the Dean E. Smith Center and congratulated, shook everybody's hands. Monty Williams goes in after this game, hard loss,
Yep.
congratulates Giannis, basically says, we got taught a major lesson that we can't stop you.
What are you saying? So
I'm saying class. I'm saying
when is it okay to enter the opponent's locker room? When you lose? That's it.
No.
And-
I think if you go in that short amount of time and you basically say you guys are the better team, and
Yeah.
and I appreciated being able to be on the floor with
Yeah.
you. I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That I saw some people saying that he was trying to take spotlight away from Giannis, and let
Which,
me just
to be fair, well, I mean context matters, but also to be
no
fair,
way.
if that's Coach K, we're killing him.
Coach K,
I mean,
Coach K would have done that totally differently. And I think that Monty Williams has a pure intent in the sense that they were very humble. I think that you just talked about it.
Yeah.
The Suns thought they were going to win. They were
Yeah.
the team of destiny.
yes,
And then when you get humbled by greatness,
yes,
you have nothing but respect. And he probably said to the team, guys, you can't really hang our heads because we lost to probably one of the greatest players we'll
it was
see.
very Tony Bennett-esque. It
Yeah.
was very like there's
I get chills just thinking about Giannis. Oh, man. 50 points. Are you kidding me? It was a 70-point effort. If he knew how to
But,
play basketball, he would have put up 70 points.
Monty Williams and Giannis both, because the same thing of Monty Williams going into the locker room to congratulate the Bucks reminds me of Giannis' speech about ego and humility and pride and all that, where the context does matter. The person delivering it does matter because they're both very authentic. They're both very likable, and they both have built up equity. Trust equity, where we trust like what they're saying is genuine.
If Tom Crean went in that locker room to congratulate Giannis, I would say to myself, he's trying to get a picture for Twitter to then flex and say.
If J.J. Watt gave the Giannis speech, we'd all be doing the jerk off motion, like get this guy out of my face. Like, what are we doing here? But Giannis did it and was like, wow, this is because it's genuine. And the same way, like after Giannis won the title, he wasn't pretending to be, he wasn't like the cameras are on me. I'm gonna go sit down on the chair now and just take this all in. And now,
or take the Kobe picture, like a staged Kobe picture. No, he was literally FaceTiming his brother, who he wished he was there, and just dancing to music and walking around the arena like a 7-year-old kid that just got a toy.
Yeah.
I mean, it was amazing. Yeah. And then he said, "We're gonna come back next year," which got me fired up because he's not done.
Because I thought he was gonna retire. I did.
No, I mean he's got an appetite. The guy wants to win a lot, and we got 26 to 34. I'm just
wrong,
watching.
But like also like what? Imagine the alternative if Giannis being like, Giannis, how does it feel to win? And he's like, feels great. I'm considering retirement, and if I don't retire, I'm gonna say this. I'm certainly gonna show up.
Trade. He was like, is it time for me to ask for a trade? Is that what we do now?
I'm certainly gonna show up next year out of shape because I don't really care. Next year's a free year. Yeah, we don't necessarily need to do this again.
He knows. We know what the next step of greatness is, which is like only the greats can three-peat, really. Like only the true greats can three-peat. So Shaq could three-peat, Jordan could three-peat. Yes. Like I am, Bill Russell. Like we got to talk about Giannis being in that class if he could do that, and I think he can.
Has Giannis now supplanted Rick Pitino as the most important figure in Greek basketball?
Yes.
Is this championship done?
Yes.
I think it's still close.
I mean, it's closer than we think.
It's closer than the experts think.
But I think Giannis could own Greek. Like, he could just make them a powerhouse.
Does he want to, though?
But I don't think he does.
I don't think he messes with Greece.
Because
right?
let's be quite honest. I mean, he was playing like in the Division III of Greece, and they kind of like stashed him away.
Yeah.
And when scouts were going to watch him, they're like, I can't really evaluate the guy. He either dunks it or kicks it out for a three every time, and he's basically unstoppable. But what position does he play? Because he plays point guard right now, but he's also their 5-man. I don't understand it, but that's why he's unstoppable, because he plays the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, can start the break himself, can basically be involved in every single possession, and then when he gets switched on Chris Paul, Devin Booker, he can guard them. They were trying to get switches onto Giannis, and then they would be like, "Oh shit!" Like, I didn't know that I was gonna have like an impossible thing to get around, who can jump 12 feet in the air, who can steal any pass, who's now locked into my eyes and knows all my moves and knows I can't go left.
Yeah,
perfect. It's so good. It was just. It's unstoppable because the only person that can do that in the league, in my opinion, currently is LeBron. LeBron can guard 1 through 5.
Yeah.
He can switch everything.
Yeah.
And that is a phenomenal gift. KD has done it before, but I think he's more of a guy that can do 8 positions, not 10. LeBron and Giannis can do 10. That's why Giannis can go on a run.
Wait, explain that. You just broke everyone's brain listening.
Okay,
8
sorry.
positions?
So
not 10?
I'm saying, let's just say if you can play the 1 and guard the 1, then you can play 2 positions,
all right?
So there's like guys in the league that I would say that are just primarily scorers that they're not even a 1, right? Because they can't guard their position, so they're a half. Or sometimes they're a 0. You know what I mean? That's what they actually are. But Giannis can do 10. He can get every single position. He can either play that position or guard that position. So he's 10. LeBron can play point guard, play shooting guard shooting guard, play small forward, guard the small forward.
Okay.
So he can do all 10. That's who he's a 10 player. He's 10.
He's a 10-tool player. This
5
is your
stars.
10, this is your,
5 stars.
Okay.
10 positions.
Okay.
He's 10 deep. And there's only 2 guys that can do it, him and Giannis. And KD on occasion.
Okay.
Kawhi has tried to play the 5, but that's not really his MO. I don't think he can do that. He can't hold up. Doesn't have to do it. Not big enough. Not big enough to do it. It's special. It's special. That's my favorite thing about LeBron. You know who else could do it? This is going to upset LeBron fans.
Who?
Scottie Pippen. Seriously. Scottie Pippen could guard the 1. He could guard Magic Johnson.
What's got into you, man? You're just like, I'm just like watching you get going. This is like, you're like me talking about Brad Stevens over there. You're just like, shut up.
I'm witnessing greatness, and I like you said, we finally have something to believe in. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Basketball makes sense.
No, yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, like
It's not a track meet where it's like pace and space. We're just kicking you out for threes and we're playing the percentages the entire time. It's like you can't make a layup on this guy.
Yeah,
and you don't even want to try.
I believe in the NBA again. I believe that like we were talking at the start of the playoffs. I always, as a fun exercise when the playoffs start, I ask you, what is if you were Adam Silver sitting in the Adam Silver chair and could put in the call to orchestrate what could happen in these playoffs, what are you doing to make you think that the NBA is in good hands? We'll put it that way. How are you orchestrating this?
Yeah.
And this is exactly what I wanted at the start of the playoffs is the Milwaukee Bucks winning the title. This is great for the league from my perspective. This is great for me. If the NBA is trying to win over me, they just did it. Like whatever Adam Silver, whatever calls he put in, putting Scott Foster on two finals games, whatever it was, I'm back in, Tate, and that's why I'm fired up, because I do love professional basketball, but I have not loved the NBA for the past 5 years. It has been a pain in my ass to watch the NBA for the last 5 years.
And I love Steph Curry, you know?
Yeah.
And that it has nothing to do with that, but Steph Curry was winning in a very unconventional way that was changing basketball at a very rapid rate, and it only works because he's special. Like the way that they play, a shooting team. As Charles Barkley, said when they first started, he was like, I can't bet on a shooting team.
They're not going to win,
yeah. But guess what? They did have a big every single time that they won, And even Kevin Durant moved over to the 5. That's why I said sometimes he can play the 5, guard the 5. Draymond can play the 5, guard the 5.
Yeah.
He can't do much else.
He can't play the 1 though, or guard the 1.
No.
But could he guard the 1?
No.
But could he play
can't do the 2.
What about the 2?
Can't do the 3.
What about the 3?
He literally, I think 5 is his best position. Seriously. Because he's he's quicker than the 5s, but he's big enough to, hold up against them. So
yeah,
fired up. I'm fired up. I'm just so happy we have Giannis.
Yeah, I am too. I think the NBA becomes far more interesting moving forward now than if the Nets.
Jokic versus Giannis is what I need.
But that's what I need. To that point, like the media is going to fall right back into.
Jokic can play the 1. He can't guard the 1.
The media next year is going to fall right back into the trap of talking about the Lakers and Nets.
Of course, sure.
Talking about
I don't want to hear it though. I'm not listening.
I don't want to hear it either.
I'm not listening to any of that.
That's what I'm worried about.
I want to hear people talk about champions. So I would like to hear the Suns be talked about, and I would like the Milwaukee Bucks to be the center of the conversation, as they should be.
Jokic should be talked about constantly.
Jokic should be talked about a lot.
Yes.
And JaVale McGee, where he goes in free agency, should be talked about.
We will hear about whether Zion would be a better fit on
Denver,
the Nets
Brooklyn.
or the Lakers. That's what
Mike Conley, the Lakers, is a lock. We're saying it here. I believe it. It's either Russell Westbrook or Mike Conley. That's what I think. Russell Westbrook would be, I don't even know what that looks like, but it would make me sad that he wasn't in Space Jam. He could have been Kronos.
Where's Damian going? To the Sixers?
He's staying in Portland, I think.
I hope so. But I've just kind of.
I think it's the Knicks. I think
that's the way it takes the air out of the balloon for me. Is like I'm so excited about Giannis, and it's like basically Giannis and Damian Lillard are the two guys that I put all my trust in. And I think like celebrating Giannis and then only to turn around and. I
think what Giannis said may have affected Dame. I could see Dame, saying I want to stay here and play it out. I also think that if you're the Knicks, you're either getting Chris Paul, signing Chris Paul, or you're trading for Dame, and you're trading Julius Randle probably for Dame. That's why you signed him to the max. And then you have Derrick Rose come back, and then you have Dame and Derrick Rose. That's your backcourt. And then all the Knicks fans are going,
do these guys play well together?
They're going championship or bust. That's what they're saying.
They're going, I'm buying these jerseys, but also how are these guys going to play well together?
I've been waiting for Jim to jump in and defend the Knicks, but I don't think he cares.
He doesn't care.
They won a playoff game. They're done. That's how Knicks fans were. We won one game. We won a game. Game 2.
Jim's over there. Remember? Jim's over there like, why are you guys talking about the Bucks? Didn't the Knicks win the title that one time we beat the Hawks?
Yeah, I thought the season was over.
What's going on here? All right, now for the fun part of the show. This is I don't know where to start other than
let's
lay
start
out the facts.
Yeah. Can you lay out the facts, and then let's just say before we lay out the facts quickly, we talked about Super League, in college sports.
Yes.
During the off season, it was kind of a joke. You and I
Stupid,
made our Super League conferences.
Off-season content. Yeah.
We knew this was coming. This had to come. I think they may have listened and said, "That's a pretty good idea. Let's make a super conference."
Word on Wednesday comes out that just. where did this originally leak? It was the Houston Chronicle,
I think
right?
so.
Like it was just like
it was like a report.
Yeah, it was a report that people. I don't know who the shams and woes are of college sports, but the report comes out that Texas and Oklahoma are actively trying to leave the Big 12 to join the SEC, and I saw a lot of the blue checks that I follow on social media were saying, "Now, hang on a second, like we can't confirm this. This is just all speculative, whatever. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna get to the bottom of this. Let's just call Texas, ask them, Texas. Listen, so there. I know this is stupid, Texas, but there's this crazy report out there that you guys are actively, you and Oklahoma are in cahoots. You're trying to leave the Big 12 and join the SEC. That's dumb, right? And Texas is like, no comment.
No. Texas said speculation always swirls around college athletics.
Yes.
We will not address rumors or speculation, which basically says. Yes, we were having conversations,
and then everyone's like, Texas,
we're sorry.
Can you just say just for my? I already have the story written. I just want to plug in your quote.
Yeah.
Can you just say you're not trying to join the SEC? So I can just plug in and be like, we talked to Texas. They said they're not joining. Just say the words Texas, and they go speculation and rumors. And you're like, wait a second.
And
what's
then
going on
Oklahoma
here?
said college athletics landscape is shifting constantly. We don't address every anonymous rumor. Not every anonymous rumor, but one is shifting, one is swirling.
Yes.
Regardless, something's in the air. You know what I mean? They did not say no. You know, they did not say this is not happening. They just said something's in the air. We don't know what it is.
And as you learned
chaos.
from when we did the Brad Stevens podcast, when somebody does not say no, Tate and I take it as a yes.
Oh,
so
of course.
We are now,
in life, if someone does not say no to you, you have to understand that there's probably layers to that, and it's probably
that's a yes. So Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC. Obviously, this is a decision that when this does happen, because I do, by the way, I've talked myself into this is definitely happening because the new development was that Texas and Oklahoma have said that when their media rights expire in 2025 with the Big 12, they're not re-upping.
Because they try to get them to sign an extension, I think, to 2030. They're like, no,
they're like, we're not doing that. Yeah. No, not happening.
Longhorn Network did not go over well with Texas. Yeah.
So I think the writing's on the wall. This is happening. I think Texas and Oklahoma are going to the SEC, which is it's.
By the way, Schlabach is the one that was reporting this story on ESPN.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This is Schlabach exclusive.
Release the tape, Mark.
Yes, come on.
Please.
He's done it again.
One time for the people. Release the tape.
June 30th, 2025 is the date when it would all end and they could be officially out of their deal.
Wow. So it's a decision driven by football, which is always fascinating because you and I don't care about football quite as much, even though we both, as you said when we sat down to do the show, we both graduated from football schools. You could argue. I went to Ohio State. You went to North Carolina. Football school.
Heisman.
Football school, North Carolina.
Yeah, Lawrence Taylor. Look it up. I mean, don't get mad at me that he invented the sack. Jim, you're a fan of the Giants. You know Lawrence Taylor.
Of course.
Okay, good. Good to know. Bill Belichick coached him back then. You know that?
Yeah, I knew that.
Jim used to be the producer on GM Street. He's like, yeah, I heard you and Lombardi talk about it all the time. Wish you'd shut up. 40 minutes.
It's true. 35.
If Texas and Oklahoma do go to the SEC, which is probably going to happen in 2025, this is it for the Big 12. That's it. The Big 12 already has 10 teams. This would put them back to 8, which, funny enough, like that's how the Big 12 started. Was the Big 8.
Yeah.
And
that's what I hope they lean into.
The Big 8, the Big 12 was when Arkansas in 1990 joined the SEC, and then the Texas schools joined the, you know what I mean? So it's kind of coming full circle that teams leaving to go to the SEC is going to be the death of it. They're going to go back to, but they're not going to do that because the writing is on the wall beyond Texas and Oklahoma leaving to join the SEC. Then the next domino is that it is just going to be a slow grind. Maybe not that slow. Maybe it'll go fast. To 4 super conferences. Isn't that where we're headed?
Yes.
We're headed to 4 super conferences, which is insane. It's insane. I really feel like this is going to be more dramatic of a shifting than even what we got 10 years ago when that was like absolutely insane to look up and see the Big East get imploded and all that because all the Big 12 is going to be done. The Big 12's done, and then Baylor is going to end up being Baylor's the UConn, by the way, because all these decisions are driven by football. Baylor just won the title. If you're a Baylor fan, you're saying to yourself, "We'll be all right. Surely we'll be all right. We just won a basketball title. Robert Griffin played football here. That matters, right? We're going to be all right. We'll be fine."
And Washington fans or Knicks fans? You know, who celebrates their one lone playoff thing more?
And UConn is cackling at that train of thought because they're like, when we had won 4 titles, and we had won 3 at the time, and the Big East imploded, we were just left. holding our you-know-what as everyone scurried off to the ACC and whatever. That seems to be where Baylor's headed, which is preposterous. Like, this is horrible news. Texas going to the SEC is horrible news for Scott Drew.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think you said it, though. I think we're getting to a point where there's going to be a Southern Conference, which there used to be a Southern Conference filled with North Carolina and all these teams. So I think there's
still is a Southern Conference.
Yeah. I mean, not the. I'm saying we're going to take that name back and we're going to make a super Southern Conference. We're going to make
super Southern.
We're going to make a Power Four, like you said. I think that's what's going to happen. It's going to be Southern. It's going to be Northeastern. It's going to be Midwestern. It's going to be Western. You know what I mean? Those are our 4 branches. We're going to have the top schools, and maybe they play up to get in those conferences.
College sports are going to be the Little League World Series.
It's literally. And no one's even going to understand. They're like, where's this team from again? Right. Maryland's like weirdly in the middle. They don't know where they stand.
The college football title game, Curacao is playing, and you're like, what the hell? How did this happen? There's a team from Mexico City.
I mean, it could happen.
What is this?
Yeah, it could happen. But in general, I think the best thing, you talk about the Big 12 imploding, the best thing that can happen is Kansas pulls the Villanova, which is they hold. I think
hold
the door. Hold the door. Like, Hodor goes back, and that's Kansas. And that's Bill Self.
Hold.
Yes. And I think that's what they do, and they just stay here, and Baylor stays as well. And I think the Big 8 can survive. I don't know where.
Houston?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I don't know where they fall, but I think you try to poach some of the maybe SMU. You bring in maybe Memphis, and you get back to the Big 12. But
get Houston, SMU, Memphis.
Yeah.
And then who else you throwing in there from the American?
East Carolina.
Tulane. Wichita State.
Yeah, Wichita State. That could be good. But you basically, I think you hold down, because Villanova, when they did that, they go on to become a superpower and basically the team in the Big East. They already have the name recognition of the Big East. You already have the Big 12. You could hold and just not make as much money and still be top dogs, especially Baylor. Now Kansas, you're like, hey, I'm a football school. Get Texas out of here. We thrive away from that, but I'm afraid, like you said, once it happens, the ACC starts calling, the Big Ten starts calling, the Pac-12 starts calling.
I think
the Pac-12 might call Baylor.
I think anything's on the table. If you name it, like,
isn't there a show in Waco that's like on, one of the HGTV or whatever? Like that seems like the West Coast would know
Chip
about.
Chip and Joanna, right? Aren't they the Baylor people?
I don't know, but I'm just saying the West Coast people know Baylor. They know Waco. Okay. So the Pac-12 reaches out.
I don't necessarily follow, but I like.
No, that's what happens. The West Coast, they say we're going.
Dude, it's on the table. I think that's what's so funny about this was that in 1990 when Arkansas was the SEC took Arkansas,
the Southwestern Conference.
Southwest Conference imploded. Texas was in the Southwest Conference, and the reason, the way I've always heard it, and I could be wrong. I'm just one idiot that has a microphone in front of him. I don't know. Yeah. You're free to disagree. It's a free country, but the way I always heard it was that Texas was like kind of a non-starter to go into the SEC because it made a lot of sense back then for Texas to go to the SEC. For all the reasons it makes sense now that they're a football school still technically ish, but they certainly were more in 1990.
Yeah.
The money makes sense, like all of the same reasons that made sense now. But was the non-starter Tate was the politics. That Texas and the South didn't necessarily mix. The people of Texas we don't want anything to do with those rednecks. The rednecks were like, we don't want anything to do with those Cowboys. Keep them out of here, whatever.
Yeah. That's the Western-Eastern rivalry there.
So I've kind of always worked under the assumption that that's oil and water. Like, come on, Texas couldn't go to that. Like, even
Texas is looking at Texas A&M and they say, like, we want that money.
Yeah, we want that.
That should be our money.
So what I'm saying is, if Texas goes to SEC, get out of my face with any sort of logical that could never Baylor in the Pac-12. Come on, how would that make? Doesn't matter. That's modern college sports. It doesn't have to make any sense. Put Duke in the Pac-12. I don't know.
I mean,
it could happen.
The Big Ten is going to call Kansas. The ACC is going to call Kansas. I mean, that is right in the realm of possibility. And I think if you're, like I said, if you're Kansas, you pull a Villanova, you hold, you say this is our conference. We're going to be a football school now. Baylor can help us in football.
No, I think the exact opposite is true.
Hold. Don't do it.
I think the exact opposite is true because
we used to call the Big 12 the Kansas Conference.
I know, but Kansas is going to be UConn is what's going to happen. They're going to be stuck. They're going to hold themselves. They're going to be just sitting there holding, and they're going to be on an island because no one wants them. So if you're Kansas, you have to see the writing on the wall, which is that all anyone cares about is football. Your football program blows.
Yeah.
You have to con someone into taking you before it's too late, and you look up and you're in the American. and now you're playing Wichita State, a team that you wanted no part of and beat you in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is stupid. Get what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
Now all of a sudden they're your conference foes.
I think you call Memphis, you call SMU,
Yeah.
call Wichita State. You try to keep the Big 12 alive. You
I-
try. Memphis has a good football
I don't
program
think that's going to
sometimes.
happen. I understand like your reasoning. I don't
Yeah.
think that's going to happen at all. I think the exact opposite is going to happen. That it's going to be a free for all. Everyone's going to turn. It's going to be a Mexican standoff of pointing gun. Like Baylor and Kansas are both at the
I
table.
mean,
Iowa
Alabama,
State's like,
Texas is going to be brutal for Texas for a few years. You know what I mean? Like Texas doesn't want to go to the SEC in football. I mean, they're going to.
that's confusing to me too.
Yeah, I don't know why.
You run the Big 12.
Yeah, you
Texas
own it.
run,
You
Texas
and
has the-
Oklahoma. Now
yeah.
you're one of the many. And now,
Yeah.
now, if I'm Greg Sankey, who is the commissioner of the SEC, he is the one that really can stop this. You know,
He's not going to.
I know, but
Why would
you're
he want-
building
why
the
would he want to?
Titanic. You're building the Titanic, and you know how this ends. You know that it's going to lead. You're going to have 16 teams, which
Yeah.
means that one year Florida's going to finish 16th.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
great.
all
Go
the-
on. I'm
and-
almost
no,
there.
I'm
Keep
just
going.
saying, yeah. I'm
This is
saying
great. Yes,
these
continue.
Gatorade, Gainesville, Florida fans that are used to being, 1 or 2 in the SEC basketball standings and winning national championships, now they're a forgotten
they
afterthought
lost to-
behind Oklahoma,
they lost
who
to a
also
15
is a
seed
Jordan
too.
school that's now going to be taking away from them. I mean, if I can't imagine the member schools voting for this as a win, unless they're really just I could care less. I really just want the money.
They're gonna,
which I guess they
that's
do
what
just
they're
want the
gonna
money.
do, dude.
Yeah.
They're if Texas and Oklahoma in the
Idiots.
minds of the SEC,
Idiots.
if Texas and Oklahoma join the SEC, they are the only conference that matters.
Yeah.
No one else has to watch any other conference or care about any other conference.
Except for the ACC and Mac Brown, but yeah, Clemson.
But no, that's what the SEC thinks, is that no one's gonna care.
Should the Big Ten and the ACC just merge and make like?
That's what Jim Delaney wanted. Jim Delaney
Yeah.
wanted to have every power team in the Big Ten and then divvy them up with sub-conferences that were just already like Alabama's in the
It's
Big
the Big Ten, but it's the
with
Big
SEC
Ten
division.
sub-conferences. You know what
It's
I mean?
the SEC
That's what the Big
division.
Ten stands for. It's
Yeah.
not teams. It's like different conferences within the conference.
Yes,
My
that's
God.
what Jim Delaney wanted. I
Manifest Delaney.
think dominoes that are going to fall is the Big 12 is going to dissolve because I envision they're not going to come together. They're not going to circle the wagon.
They're
remaining
meeting right now as we speak.
the remaining 8
Yeah.
teams are not going to circle the wagons. They are going to do the exact opposite. They're going to be taking phone. Kansas is on the phone with every single conference saying, please, for the love of God, do something. Iowa State's like, we can be a Big Ten school. And the Big Ten's like, we're trying to expand media markets. You do nothing for us, Iowa State. And Iowa State's like, yeah, but we have a lot of corn. What about that? Isn't that a Big Ten thing? I envision that. I envision all these schools are going to turn on each other.
Yeah.
Kansas to the Big Ten would be amazing. I would love that so much. That makes a lot of sense.
That would be
But
bad
then
for the Big Ten.
But then the Big Ten's got to add another one, which I think this if all this starts happening, I think the Notre Dame domino might fall, and I think Big Ten might go all in on Notre Dame, and Notre Dame might have to say yes because I think you might look at the landscape and be like, all right, this is how the way the playoffs are going to work. Where they're like, I know they're going to have more berths, so like Notre Dame, but who's going to play Notre Dame if we have all these super conferences?
Yeah.
What's the incentive to play Notre Dame in football? If you're one of these,
Yeah. Why risk it?
why would you go play like
Yeah.
if you're in a conference with like 1,000 teams already that are all really good and you could just play those and win your like you don't need Notre Dame and Notre Dame's going to be left there
Yeah.
like so they're going to have to join a conference, right? And why would you join the ACC if you're Notre Dame? That doesn't make sense either. Join the Big Ten. Everyone already hates
They're
you.
already in the pool with the ACC. You know what I mean? But I could see them being very
But they don't-
shisty and
doesn't-
deciding last minute
Yeah.
to go to the Big Ten. I mean, that would make a lot of sense to me. But if I'm the ACC, I'm calling Texas and I'm calling Oklahoma and I'm saying, we have great academics here. We literally, we will dominate the SEC.
Yeah.
And then they're like, what?
And then you say, why are you laughing? And then you're like, what?
Can you guys hear me on the other end? Are you guys listening? Hello? Hello? I mean, Texas to me, at least is a school that has academic integrity. So
Yeah.
I could see them scoffing a bit at the SEC, but then you have Vanderbilts, you have Georgias, you know, Florida's an okay school. I mean, you have
They have good schools in the SEC.
yeah. That's what I'm saying.
They're good
Yeah,
schools.
yeah.
It's not the Big Ten. I mean,
It's
the
not
Big
the
Ten is the
ACC.
premier.
I mean, it's not
I would
public
say-
Ivies.
I would say, yeah, the Big Ten is the premier
No.
academic power. Yeah, absolutely.
That's what they say.
It's actually the Pac-12. But
Yeah, I know, but that's
Except
the best
for-
part. Whenever they had, remember, like they had like the Capital Cup, you know, like the Capital One
Yeah.
Cup, and for whatever reason, I wanted to win that at the ESPYS, and I would go into it, and so I was like, we need to win this, you know what I'm saying? We gotta win this.
It's the one guy watching
Yeah, I'm
the
like, we gotta
SBs.
win this. And then it would always be Stanford. I'm like, this is unfair. This is unfair.
I don't know though, man. Arizona State might pull down the whole Pac-12 academically
Yeah.
just by themselves.
Yeah. I mean, but it's great to have Arizona State.
I talked to my dad, Big Ten superfan Bill Titus. I asked him, if dominoes start falling, what is the Big Ten's move? He said he wants Kansas, and then I was like, is it Kansas and Notre Dame? Is that the move? We got to go get Notre Dame. And Bill Titus, a man who has lived in Indiana for most of his life, I was FaceTiming, looked me in the eye, and he's like, I want Kansas and Kansas State.
he wants the rivalry. I kind of like that.
He wants the rivalry. And I was like, no Notre Dame, and he goes, I don't want Notre Dame anywhere near my. And I was like, the reason, the fact that you're saying that is the very reason that Notre Dame belongs in the Big Ten.
No. This is what I'm saying. I think that Notre Dame and West Virginia come to the ACC. I think those are the two schools that we pull in.
You can't.
Notre Dame's already a part of the ACC.
But you have to see the bigger picture.
5 times a year. Notre Dame can't see the picture.
Dude,
they can't see. They signed with Under Armour. They didn't see the picture.
No, but does anybody hate Notre Dame in the ACC?
Yes, I hate them.
There's no way.
I hate
them. There's no way, dude.
I
Come
hate
to the
them.
Midwest.
Last year, I went to the game. I went to the game last year when they came. They beat North Carolina. It was ridiculous.
You do a power ranking.
We're by far the better team.
Do a power.
But Ian Booker went
someone
out.
Someone at Fox put out the poll. Who hates Notre Dame? Which fan bases hate Notre Dame the most?
North Carolina.
It's Ohio State,
Virginia,
Michigan, Purdue, Virginia.
Wake Forest.
Get out of here. What's gotten into you, dude?
Send Notre Dame where they belong, and don't let them back out on this deal. We've been giving them free money.
Why do you want them in the ACC?
Because I want to beat them. I like the history. I like Mike Bray. I don't want to lose Mike Bray. I want Mike Bray.
You like the history of Notre Dame in the ACC?
I liked going to the game and seeing touchdown Jesus. I like being cheated out of that game. I was literally like, wow, this is
I'm looking at a map, by the way.
Duke basketball and football.
I just pulled up a map of all the Power 5 schools, like it laid over the geography of the United States.
Yeah.
Notre Dame is right in the we already knew it's in the heart of Big Ten country.
It is,
but the way it illustrates here, it's like
it literally is in the middle of Big Ten country. 1, 2, 3, 4. Look, it makes sense, but what I'm saying,
the 7 closest schools to Notre Dame.
Who have they been playing with though for the past 7 years?
7. Oh my God, we can't break up that tradition.
No, it's 7 years.
Rivalry runs deep. 7 years.
How deep that is in internet years?
The reason my dad hates Notre Dame so much is because he said in the 80s. Having graduated from Indiana in the 80s when Notre Dame football was awesome and IU basketball was awesome and they're both winning national titles, it drove him nuts how many people would cheer for IU basketball and
Notre Dame football.
Yeah, Notre Dame football. And we're not a Catholic family, so if you're a Protestant growing up in Indiana, you kind of hate. If you're a Protestant growing, if you're just basically not a Catholic in Indiana, you hate Notre Dame.
I mean,
everybody hates Notre Dame.
Yeah, everyone hates Notre Dame.
Ohio State fans hate Notre Dame.
Yeah, of course.
Michigan fans hate Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Notre Dame to the Big Ten.
Clemson fans hate Notre Dame.
I kind of want Pitt in the Big Ten too, but I don't think that's not going to happen.
Pitt's getting their old rival back. We're getting the backyard rivalry. Pittsburgh versus West Virginia. They're coming to the ACC.
Okay, so
that's what we have. We have Notre Dame and West Virginia. I am claiming them. They're coming to the ACC.
So what? Those are the teams you're adding to the ACC.
Yes, and then you're getting Kansas and Kansas State.
What is stupid?
As per Bill Titus, that's who the
Big Ten's
getting. What is stupid?
No, that doesn't. Pitt belongs in the Big Ten.
Baylor's going to the Pac-12.
You can have West Virginia. I don't want West Virginia. You can keep Louisville. I don't want. We're an academic institution. That's what you're talking about. How much academics matter, and you want West Virginia and Louisville in your.
Well,
conference?
I mean, look, we're gonna try to lift them up. You know what I mean? That's what we try to do at the ACC. We try to help out everybody.
I love the idea of Kansas and Missouri's not going to leave the SEC. I don't think, but Kansas and Missouri to the Big Ten. Reignite that rivalry.
That would be fun. That's what I'm saying. Let's bring people back together. At least Oklahoma's going with Texas. I think it would be really sad if Texas was just leaving them to die in the Big 12.
But that's the name of the game.
Yeah.
You know? I'm curious to see like if you're the
Should North Carolina and Duke just go to the SEC?
I mean, yeah, kind of. I think that's what it's gonna be. I mean, it's literally gonna be like.
I just think these schools are gonna start having these conversations all the time. You know,
it's gonna be north. This is like slowly gonna morph. As I texted you, it's slowly gonna morph into like a north and south. There's gonna be two conferences, north and south.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna be playing football, and it's slowly gonna get more and more violent. And then you're gonna look up, and it's not even football anymore. It's just a civil war going on again. You're like, what?
South Carolina.
And they're all shanking each other on the football, and you're like, wait, what is going on here?
Oh man.
I'm looking at the map now. BYU is on here for some reason, and that has my attention. What about BYU and the getting like BYU and
BYU should go to the Pac-12 for real.
To the Pac-12.
That makes sense.
But I'm saying if the Big 12 was looking for schools to keep and to not dissolve.
Yeah. BYU could be good.
BYU could be a good one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think Houston's a really good one too.
Houston makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Houston's the first call.
Houston, SMU, like you just own. You get your Texas audience back. You know what I mean? You lose Texas, but you get. 2 schools from Texas.
I don't know, man. This is
Maybe you call A&M. And you're just
You
like
bring A&M back
and
to
you're
the
just
Big
like
12.
you own the Big 12. Like you guys can own the Big 12.
That's A&M's nightmare.
A&M and Baylor.
Yeah. One thing I do love about these exercises, though, is if you pay attention to chatter on the internet about this, everybody has a reason why that could never happen.
Yeah.
But that cracks me up, and then it always happens. You're like, no. There's no way.
I mean, it's kind of like when James Harden was like, I want to play on the Nets. Everyone's like, it's impossible.
Contract. No, because
it's gonna happen.
There is no way that Auburn is gonna want Texas in, because
If
you
we
have to
know
remember
about it, if
that
we know
Auburn,
about it, it's that deep that it's already being discussed. You know what I mean? Like if it's been leaked, it's been discussed.
You start talking about dominoes falling, and yeah, there's no way Missouri would ever leave that. And it's like, I think the lesson we've learned here is it's always possible.
Yes.
Whatever you think is impossible in college sports.
No, anything
is
is possible.
It's
Kevin Garnett
possible.
yelled that to the skies in 2008.
Yes.
He ripped open, a portal into the 5th dimension. And since then, think about how much crazy stuff has happened since 2008.
Yeah.
LeBron goes to Miami.
Yes.
That seemed unfathomable
Crazy.
before 2008.
Tom Crean won the Big Ten twice.
What? Tom Crean got another #1 pick? I mean, think about that. Anything is possible.
Crazy.
Anything is possible.
No, that's gonna be fun to watch though, because I don't know. I've gotten to the age now where I've resisted change for so long. Like as everything is changing, as I get older and you see change happening, you resist it, Tate. You don't like it. You want everything to be like it was when you were just a young, naive child and the world seemed perfect. And as the change happens, I resist it. And now I've gotten to the point where I'm like,
embrace it.
You can't do anything about it. This is all hilarious.
Just let it wash over you.
I'm not mad. I'm actually laughing that.
Yeah, I'm not upset.
College sports are shifting like this. Yeah.
No, they're swirling. I think we're in a swirl period right now, and we have a chance for it to shift. I think the SEC is gonna. It's not gonna be good for the SEC. 16's too many. It's too many it's too many powerhouse brands for everybody to eat. You can't fill a table.
I think it's the Jim Delaney method of like get them all into the umbrella, and then you can cut the fat later, and you can send, maybe that ends up happening. Maybe like Kentucky football sucks, so they're like, we don't want you in Kentucky, and Kentucky
goes to the ACC.
Goes to the ACC or something. I don't know.
That could be fun. Oh my God. Give me that.
ACC should do that. Why doesn't ACC just double down on being the basketball conference?
That's why I think Kansas is a phone call. You call Kansas and you say, hey, we want the Blue Bloods.
Yeah. I mean,
West Virginia too for basketball.
Like, I want the ACC to be the premier basketball conference again, because the Big Ten carrying that, like, it's hard. It's hard. Like the Big Ten carrying the best football conference and the best basketball conference at the same time is exhausting.
The Big Ten gassing themselves and then losing embarrassingly.
Like, imagine
is just so tiring.
The Big Ten being the best academic conference, the best football conference, and the best basketball conference.
I think that there should be like an Ivy League conference, but not the Ivy League, where it's just like the Northwesterns of the world, and we just put them over
Northwestern,
here.
Vanderbilt,
Wake
Stanford.
Forest. You know what I mean? They all just get in this little conference, and they just play each other.
Let them all hash it out. What else? Let's wrap this thing up. What else we got?
Oh man, I just want to flip it back and talk about quickly the Milwaukee Bucks. I just want to shout them out again. Brandon Jennings, I just want to give a shout out to, because I mean, Brandon Jennings, dodged college basketball. There was every reason for us not to like Brandon Jennings. He goes over and plays in China, but then he somehow makes himself a cult hero with this Bucks team. I've always been a fan. I remember when he dropped 50 in the Garden.
He was supposed to go to Arizona, right? That was where he was going to go to college. Yeah.
Yeah. He and Terrence Ferguson both were the two that I think were supposed to go to Arizona, but they both went. I think Ferguson went to Australia, but he went to China. But I just love that Brandon Jennings has come back as like this cultural figure with the Bucks, and he said Bucks in 6, and it was beautiful. Shout out to him.
Circa 2004, 2005, I think. My father, myself, Greg Oden are walking the Las Vegas Strip. We're out there for an AAU tournament. We bump into this lovely woman. She notices Greg. She's like, "You guys play? Are you guys out for the basketball tournament?" We're like, "Yep, we're out for the basketball tournament." She's like, "My son plays basketball. I'm trying to get him a Division I scholarship." We start talking to her. She's a nice lady. And we're like, "Oh, by the way, what's your son's name?" She says Brandon Jennings. Me and Greg both look at each other, because at this point, like, we kind of knew who Brandon Jennings was. He's on the Southern California All-Stars, the Chase Budinger, Kevin Love, Taylor King. There's a blast from the past. That's a name you ever heard.
USC.
Duke Blue Devil.
And then he transferred, right?
He transferred like 30 times.
Exactly.
I think he went to Villanova too, somewhere along the line.
Man. One of the many Duke defectors that we love.
But that's a horrible story about how I met Brandon Jennings' mom. She's a very nice lady. And then ever since then, I've been like paying attention to Brandon Jennings. And then we played him like 2 days later, and he had a dunk tip on us from a free throw. He did the Jordan where you crashed to. He was called for a lane violation, but it was sick. The dude's like 6 foot tall and just jumped up and.
Brandon Jennings and OJ Mayo were the 2 LA dudes that when they were coming up, you're like, man, we're gonna have to watch them. And Brandon Jennings had, like I said, a 50-point game in the NBA. That's no slouch, and that was before pace and space. So, shout out to Brandon Jennings.
I want to shout out. I had this on my list. Should we do this now? I'm gonna call John Diebler.
Oh, nice.
I was on the phone with John Diebler the other day, and he was talking to me about the tournament coming up.
Mm-hmm. So the TBT has already started, but they get to wait to like the end and play in a championship. I don't even understand.
Let me call John. Let me see if he answers real quick because I want to get an update on. See if this works. I don't know. I didn't tell him I was gonna call him.
Johnny.
What time is it back there? He's probably sitting down for dinner. He's got twins now.
Man,
maybe he's not gonna answer. He's gonna call me back right after the show's over.
I was hoping to watch the Olympics and just John Diebler's on Slovenia. That's what I was really hoping. I really like that was like the best case Diebler scenario.
Yeah, he's like been playing in Europe for so long that he's got Turkish citizenship or something.
He's playing for the Turkish national team, and I'm like, what is happening?
I want an update on the Ohio State team's about to play in the tournament. Remember last year. They lost in the first round.
Embarrassed.
They were the defending champs, and then last year they lose in the first round.
Sounds very Big Ten, if I had to say so
I gotta
myself.
say, it's inexcusable for Ohio State basketball to lose in the first round. And if that ever happened to the real Buckeyes basketball team, I would never stop talking about it because I would be demanding better from them.
Thank God Coach Holtman is their coach.
So for the TBT team to do
That's
that,
why I don't bring it up.
I was absolutely disgusted, and they're back. So I'm shouting out those guys. Thanks for the invite to join the team once again, fellas. It means a lot. They're the 1 seed, I think. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Watch that and see. I think they're in Purdue. Like they would play Purdue, the Purdue alumni team in the second round if they win. I don't know. We'll see. Who cares?
Who's the star of the team? Is it Diebler?
Buford won the MVP 2 years ago. Costa Koufos is on the team now. Talking about Greek guys. They're talking about Costa Giannis, coached by Rick Pitino. Yeah. Nick Kalatis as the point guard.
Think about if they had Giannis, Papa Giannis, and Koufos. And then the Antetokounmpo
It's a gold
brothers.
medal team, dude.
I mean, I think they beat the U.S.
That's a gold medal
Just
team.
all heart. 78-72. It's like the most physical game we've ever seen. The refs aren't calling anything because they're just like, we're
Rick
pulling
Pitino has Giannis running the point of his press.
Oh, man.
Doesn't take him out of the game.
I would love to see Rick Pitino go to practice with Giannis. I think he would take him over by himself and just start running, stations with him.
By the way, the Olympics, if you're Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, are you trying to get out of that?
Yeah, for sure.
You won the title.
If I'm Drew Holiday, I call Grant Hill and I say, hey, man, I know that I made this big promise, but from what I've seen, Dame's got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And seems like it's going well. He's like, what do you mean from what you've seen?
Yeah,
what?
Yeah.
Huh? And they just hang up.
Keldon Johnson looked really good. I think you guys are good.
I'm just going to enjoy my summer.
Good luck to you, though.
Yeah. And if you're Drew Holiday, I mean, it does seem like the Bucks are a very family-oriented team. He wants to be around his wife, his kids.
Oh, yeah. Just say family.
Just say it's family.
Just say in the
Giannis is just family.
Just put out a statement in the interest and the health and safety of the student athletes in my family.
Yeah.
Comma, and then no matter what you say after that, no one can argue against it. That's all you gotta do.
And if I'm Justin Holiday, I'm signing with the Bucks.
There you go.
It's like I'll just come off the bench and hit shots.
Milwaukee Bucks and Olive Garden, the 2 places where when you're here, you're family.
Yeah. Just come on in.
Speaking of the Olympics, I want to give one quick shout out before we go to a man who's won a few gold medals in his time. He is the head coach of the Duke Blue Devils, Mike Krzyzewski.
Oh, yes.
Recently announced that he is going to step down as the head coach of Duke. This is going to be his final season. So I just want to take a minute and say thank you, Coach. #thank you, Coach K, for all that you have done to not only college basketball but to world basketball, all of it. I mean, arguments can be made that 2008, Mike Krzyzewski leads USA to a gold medal, Tate. That was the moment in time that Giannis Antetokounmpo decided he wanted to start playing basketball.
And Kevin Garnett said anything is possible.
Anything's possible.
Wow.
So you could argue that Coach K leading USA to gold is why we have Giannis in our lives. So thank you, Coach. We appreciate all you've done.
Thank you for motivating this young man to play basketball.
Yes, and we will certainly be cheering for you all season because we respect you so much and in this final season of yours. So Congratulations on
wait.
a great career.
Do we think his hair is completely black at the end of the year? Do you think he gives a little bit of gray? I think he gives a touch of gray.
He starts doing
I think it's 75. He
All
goes touch of gray.
I want one moment of Mike Krzyzewski before he hangs it up of the Rudy Giuliani press conference where his hair ties just dripping down his face. He's just got black liquid seeping down his face.
I saw Banchero's already there. He's already playing pickup.
Is he?
Hey, I saw the Duke Blue Devils put out like a highlight reel and said, "How do you stop a 6'10" kid that can do this?" And it was like literally like he just crossed over once.
Remember the video
it's
of Zion shooting threes?
Yeah. Remember the pool party? It was like a full on like hype video for this Coach K pool party at his house.
Zion didn't take his shirt off at that pool party. That's what I remember about it.
He was swimming with the shirt on,
I
playing
remember
volleyball.
that. I was like, that's a fat move.
Yeah,
that was a fat move.
Hey, man.
That's when I was like, this guy's definitely. Or so speaking from experience,
Yeah.
that's a.
And every kid that gets asked about it, he's like, "Yeah, I got burned. Dude.
Okay.
I just got burned."
Oh, I have my. I didn't even realize. It's just really comfortable. I like this. I like this shirt.
Sticking in the water.
All right,
we love you, Zion.
That's the show. I swear to God, at some point we're going to talk about the NBA draft. I meant to do it today.
Oh yeah, this is Titus when Mike Conley gets signed by the Lakers. Thank you, Jim, for putting that together for us.
GIF of me. I want the one of the guy that sticks his tongue out. He looks like
when he's like a snake.
Lakers. Oh, disgusting. We're gonna talk about the draft next week. We gotta.
You look so Ohio State in that photo. What is that photo? That has to be from years ago.
Go Bucks.
Go Bucks. You're right.
There you go. Bucks won the vote. Yeah. We're gonna talk about draft next week. We have to because the draft is Thursday, and if we don't,
we
do
may
it
have
next
a big
week,
guest. Should we just say that at the end of every episode that we might have a big guest? On the
should
next
we
show?
start saying who the guests are so that way if they don't show up,
they look bad.
They look bad instead of us.
Duncan
making
Robinson
promises.
is coming on the next one.
Coming up next week, Ryan
Rosillo and Duncan Robinson
together in studio. Tune in, guys. No, we're gonna talk about the draft. It was just the fine. I hate this about the NBA. You should be like the NFL in the season. Give us time to breathe. Give us time to think it over.
Yeah.
We gotta have a draft season. We gotta have a run up. You can't end the season and then have the. They've been doing it forever this way, though.
Yeah.
I
already feel good.
Think they're gonna
Cade
change.
Cunningham, #1. College basketball is #1. You see that? The finals, even with Giannis, the most likable player, still college basketball, #1, #2, TV ratings. That's what matters. College basketball, we're here. We did it. Thank you.
See you guys.